Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Well, folks, we got one that is from the files of the absurd tonight. We have this jackass, Brian Basham, a second-rate wannabe journalist, who is leading the charge for Ghislaine Maxwell to be released on bail. You know, she's being treated so horribly in there. She can't talk to her family. She doesn't have the right kind of food. She's lost weight. Breaking news. Nobody cares. She should not be free on bail. She should never see the light of day again. Brian Basham, you epic moron. Who comes out and champions Ghislaine Maxwell? Oh, he's a family friend. He's a public relations specialist. Oh, you're going to have your hands full, buddy. I hope you brought your lunch. I hope you brought your lunch and your work boots, because it's not going to be an easy task. Nobody's buying the bullshit. Nobody cares that Ghislaine Maxwell is a bit uncomfortable, especially considering what she is accused of, especially considering how many girls have come forward and said that Ghislaine Maxwell has ruined their lives. I have no empathy for her. I don't care if she wants vegan meals. I don't care if she can't have her caviar anymore. How long have I said it? Enjoy your bologna sandwich, Ghislaine. You don't make the rules anymore. And this toolbag douche nozzle, Brian Basham, certainly doesn't make the rules. So, let's dive into what I would like to call the absurd and see what sort of bullshit nonsense Ghislaine Maxwell and her moronic camp are up to. This article is from the Daily Mail. Headline: Operation GGO. Campaign to free Ghislaine Maxwell from jail is launched as a family friend claims she's lost 25 pounds in custody and is forced to wear paper clothes. Oh, boo-hoo. You lost 25 pounds because you're not eating at your boy's restaurant anymore, right? Guess what? That's part of it. You better adjust and start eating the food that you're provided. If not, well, whose fault is that? What do you think, you're Bobby Sands? You're going to go on a hunger strike? Nobody cares, Ghislaine, all right? World's smallest violin, nobody cares. I have zero empathy for this bipedal serpent and her conditions that she's living under right now. It is absolutely absurd that somebody like her would be complaining about the conditions of this prison, or jail, we should say. She's not even in prison yet. You don't get to make the rules. You don't get to decide what happens and what doesn't happen from here on out. You lost those rights the second you decided to engage in this criminal enterprise. And for all the bloviating, all the whinging, all the crying, all of the gnashing of teeth, it is not going to work. Ghislaine Maxwell is not getting out of jail because she has to wear paper clothes and she doesn't want to eat the food that's provided to her. You're going to have to come harder than that, Brian Basham. This article was authored by Lauren Edmonds and also Emily Scrivener. The family of Ghislaine Maxwell has launched a campaign to get her out of jail, claiming she's lost considerable weight and her human rights were violated. All right, pause, full stop. Hit the emergency brake. Hang on. Her human rights were violated? How about the dozens of girls and women that she helped that monster Jeffrey Epstein procure, groom, and abuse? What about their human rights? That's what the conversation's revolving around now, Ghislaine. Not about your human rights. You're being treated like any other inmate that is at high risk would be treated. Point blank, period. What, you want to go to the yard? Didn't we have this discussion already, Ghislaine? What do you think, you're going to go to the yard and shit's going to be all nice, prim, and proper and tied up? Negative. If you go to the main line, you will be beat down. You will be assaulted because that's how these prisons work. So, to keep you safe, Ghislaine, you're in a cell by yourself. Pretty basic stuff that I figured that your lawyers would have explained to you. But no, here we are, still thinking that Ghislaine Maxwell gets some sort of special privileges. They're still thinking that she's running around rubbing elbows with other members of so-called polite society. What they're failing to realize is that's done. That's a chapter that's over, and we're on to the newest chapter. And that chapter is entitled, Ghislaine Maxwell Staying in Prison for the Rest of Her Life. Operation GGO, a campaign to get Ghislaine out from her Brooklyn prison cell, comes after she previously sought release this summer on a $5 million bail related to sex trafficking charges. There was never a chance that she was getting out on bail, all right? No chance, not then, not now. It would take a serious situation for her to get out on bail. I mean, who knows, with the second wave of COVID, they might try and play that up. That might be the next one. But from where I'm sitting and from the strong position that the court took when they denied her bail, it would take a lot for them to rescind that order, I would think. She maintained her innocence, but the Manhattan judge deemed her a flight risk, considering she had evaded capture for nearly a year. And not just that. People are like, well, why didn't she just go and run away from America right away? Well, the FBI wouldn't let that occur. There was no way that what was she going to do? Get on a plane and fly out of, JFK? That wasn't going to happen. So the whole entire New Hampshire hidey hole, perfect right on the border, right? Why wouldn't she exploit her and Jeffrey Epstein's contacts in Montreal, ties that we talked about previously? Why wouldn't she use those contacts in Montreal to try and get to France from New Hampshire? That is the logical reason why she was in New Hampshire, right? So I don't want to hear the whole, oh, well, she could have ran, but she didn't. Nah, I highly doubt it. I bet she was flagged as high risk. Who knows how long this sealed indictment has been prepared? So we don't know all of the particulars. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes. So we have to use what is the most logical explanation. And in my opinion, the most logical explanation is she was in New Hampshire because it was just a short trip to Montreal. And then from there, she could have used her contacts to boogie out to France, where obviously there's no extradition. So that is the premise I'm working on, and that is where the evidence has led me thus far. Brian Basham, a family friend and a PR professional, has set out to free Maxwell from the cruel and vindictive treatment she's allegedly received at the hands of the U.S. authorities. Brian Basham, everybody, riding in on his big white horse in his shining white suit of armor to save the damsel in distress, Ghislaine Maxwell. How sickening. How absolutely absurdly sickening. More like Gregor Clegane riding in to try and save Circe. Give me a break. Cruel and vindictive treatment? How about the cruel and vindictive treatment that the survivors received at her hands? You see, Brian Basham, this is not a game you want to play. You're a Johnny-come-lately. You're not built for this. I can already tell by your opening salvo you don't have anything new. All old, recycled complaints, packaged a different way, and delivered from a new mouthpiece. Well, sir, new mouthpiece, old mouthpiece, the same resistance awaits you. Basham alleged that the heiress has lost 25 pounds since she was placed in custody because guards won't accommodate her vegan diet, the Telegraph reports. What's wrong? You didn't get your fill of lettuce wrap sandwiches when you were hanging out at your private dinner with Mr. Bill Slick Willie Clinton? Your vegan food. Give me a break. You are a prisoner, okay? That's it. You don't get to decide what kind of food you want. I'm sure that there's some sort of vegetarian option in the jail. In fact, I'm pretty sure we've heard about the vegetarian option in jail. So what, you don't like vegetarian lasagna? It has to be vegan? Well, sorry, sometimes in life, you don't get to do what you want to do, Ghislaine, and you're at that point in your life, I'm afraid. just a reality you and your buddy Brian Basham are going to have to come to, because facts are the facts. They're not rewriting the menu for you in jail. You're not getting any special kind of food in jail. You're going to eat what you were served, unless you have some sort of religious requirement that nobody knows about. Then that's totally fine. Whatever your religious requirements say, then hey, look, I'm not here to tell anybody how to eat when it comes to religion. But as far as being a regular prisoner in jail, shut up, eat your bologna sandwich, and get ready for a life of that sort of food. When Maxwell complained, Basham told the Telegraph prison officials simply removed her scales to stop her from recording her weight. Why does she have a scale? She doesn't need a scale in her cell anyway. She can go and the nurse or whoever the infirmary or whoever it might be, when they do her physical, they can weigh her then. She doesn't need a scale to weigh herself. What does she think? She's getting ready to be fitted for a new dress, to hit the social circle again, to go light up the town on the arm of Mr. Brian Basham? Maybe they can go have dinner over at Alan Dershowitz's house. The Three Stooges, absolute moronity in motion. Basham also alleged that prison officials forced Maxwell to wear clothes made from paper and banned her from wearing bras over fears of a suicide risk. Oh, boo-hoo. Again, so what? We can't trust her not to commit suicide, right? We can't trust that. So she has to follow the protocols. That's it. That's all. That's how this works. You don't want to wear paper clothes and you want to wear your fancy whatever kind of Vera Wang shoes? Well, stop molesting children, stop being involved with sex trafficking, and maybe you could have just ran around and been this great grand serpent all you wanted. But no, you chose to be involved with Jeffrey Epstein, you chose to be a co-conspirator, and you chose to help him on his criminal spree. And not only just help him, but be there as a 1A, 1B shadow boss type of persona. So no, nobody cares that you can't step on the scale, that you don't have a bra, or that you can't have your lettuce wrap sandwiches from yours and Slick Willie's favorite joint. Nobody cares. The concerns echoed those of Jeffrey Epstein, who died by suicide, allegedly, in a Manhattan jail cell last year while awaiting trial. Epstein, a New York financier, pedophile, whose reputation was marred with allegations of child molestation, was indicted on sex trafficking and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking charges. Again, remember the Epstein charges. Conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking. You cannot be engaged in a conspiracy of one. So that means there were other people that were going to be arrested when Epstein was first arrested. So that could mean there was a sealed indictment for Ghislaine Maxwell for that long, thus barring her leaving this country. We do not know, but it seems like it would be logical, right? It seems like Ghislaine Maxwell had no place else to go. She had to squirk around and crawl around in holes in the United States because, well, she had that sealed indictment floating around and waiting for her. Again, I don't know that for sure, but it certainly seems logical to me. He was repeatedly accused of the vile act throughout his adult life and pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor for prostitution in Florida in 2008. He was awaiting trial at the Metropolitan Correctional Center Jail in New York City when he committed suicide by hanging, allegedly, inside his jail cell in August 2019. Epstein's death rocked the country and was a shocking blow for a number of his survivors who had come forward. Yeah, look, let's be real. These girls really wanted a chance to have their day in court to stare this son of a bitch down and say to him, look, you might have gotten away with it then, but not now. Not now. We're the ones in a position of power now. Epstein, not you. We're the ones sitting here with our freedom while you are about to rot away in prison for the rest of your life. But no, that was stolen from them. The ineptitude of the Department of Corrections to keep Epstein safe, and the whole entire shitty situation leading up to it, as far as the way the MCC conducted themselves, completely robbed these girls of getting the justice that they should have gotten. And now Ghislaine's left holding the bag. His co-boss, his underboss, his confidant, the lady that was there from the beginning who helped him get this off the ground. She is the one who is left. She is the one who must now face justice. Maxwell, who was accused of being his madam, co-conspirator, fellow child abuser, general all-around scuzzbag, and bipedal serpent, soon fled and managed to avoid authorities for months before she was detained in New Hampshire. She was charged with 6 federal crimes, including enticement of minors and sex trafficking. Again, I don't think that she was in the wind, so to speak, as in if somebody was completely on the lam. I think the FBI was keeping tabs on her, and they were waiting for their time to spring these indictments, unseal them, and arrest her. Why it took so long, I have no idea. Maybe they have other things in the works, or maybe it's just was the ineptitude of Jeffrey Berman. Basham told the Telegraph the prison guards have stopped talking to Maxwell, who spends her days isolated in a 9-foot by 7-foot cell. Aw, the prison guards don't want to talk to the bipedal serpent? Maybe they don't speak forked tongue serpent language. Maybe they don't want to sully themselves with a conversation with that vile hag. Maybe they just don't have anything to say to Ghislaine Maxwell. Is there anything in their charter that says the guards have to have a conversation with her? I highly doubt there is. Her loneliness, according to Basham, is exasperated by the fact that letters from family have not reached her. Oh, again, boo-hoo. I'm sure you'll get your letters when it's time to get them. I'm sure that there are other prisoners who have been there for a lot longer than you who haven't had their letters either. We're in the middle of a pandemic. What, you want special treatment in the middle of a pandemic? No, you'll get none of that. You're going to sit in your cell. You'll get to watch TV when they tell you to. You'll get to take a shower when they tell you to. Your days of giving the orders are over. Get it through your thick skull. She is unable to talk to her sisters, and their letters are being vindictively not given to her, he told the publication. Prove it. Let's see receipts. You don't know that, Brian Basham. You don't know any of that. You're speaking out of the side of your neck like a chump. And that's what you are, Brian Basham. You're a chump. I hope you hear this too, you second-rate journalist. Out here pining for Ghislaine Maxwell to be free. Hell is wrong with you, dude? She is in a cell 9 feet by 7 feet on a floor of the prison with no one else on it. The last I heard is that the guards have now stopped speaking to her, and she is very much in isolation. Well, I thought you guys liked that. I thought you liked having a whole wing to yourself. Your BFF Jeffrey Epstein sure liked to have the whole stockade wing to himself down there in Palm Beach. Just figured Ghislaine would like the same treatment, right? What's good for the goose and all. I am told that none of the members of the family have been able to visit or talk to her directly. So what? We just started having visitors again at that prison, and Ghislaine Maxwell was one of the first people to see her lawyers. What about all those people from the inner cities that don't have great lawyers or big money or people like bitch-ass Brian Basham out there pining for them? What about them? What about their human rights? All of their human rights come before Ghislaine Maxwell's, in my opinion. You'll wait your turn like everybody else. There'll be no special favors. There'll be no special privileges. The two-tier justice system needs to be shattered and tossed into the 4 winds. And let's start right here. Basham has offered to help the Maxwells pro bono to secure her bail ahead of her trial in July 2021. Go ahead and try. Because every single time you come up with a comment, every single time you have a statement, we're going to be right here to challenge your bullshit, to make sure the people know your narrative is not the truth. Your narrative is more doublespeak, more technicality, more I want special favors for my friend. That shit is done, Brian Basham. And in fact, you're making a big mistake for yourself as far as professionally speaking, my friend. What do you think people are going to forget after Ghislaine Maxwell gets indicted and convicted on RICO charges? You think people are going to forget those who came to her defense, those who chose her over justice and what the survivors have faced? No, we will not. He told The Telegraph that he volunteered to spearhead the campaign because I thought that the dog and pony show put on by the Department of Justice and the FBI had attempted to whip what I think of as a lynch mob into further frenzy. Shut up, bitch. That's right, I called you a bitch. That's what I think you are. A sorry-ass bitch. A punk. A joker. A clown. Somebody that has no idea what they're talking about. You're just another joker in a long line of jokers who have shown up with a fat mouth about this case that really don't know a thing about it. Oh, and I guess, we should take you serious because you're Brian Basham. No, we're not taking you serious. I'm not taking you serious. You haven't brought nothing new to the table, clownfish. You haven't brought a thing new to the table. All you're doing is recycling known garbage. We've known all of this. None of this is a new revelation. Nobody's beating Ghislaine Maxwell on her feet with a wooden stick like she's in a Turkish prison. Nobody's waterboarding her. Nobody's holding food back from her. None of that's occurring. What you're doing is bitching and moaning because your serpentine friend is locked up. Well, Brian Basham, keep bitching, keep moaning, keep crying. It's not going to work, and we're all laughing at you. And as far as a lynch mob, great usage of words, buddy, okay? Great usage of words, because, real lynch mobs were no big deal back in the day. Real people, the people that Jeffrey Epstein hates, people of color, they didn't really have to deal with lynch mobs. A bunch of Italians weren't lynched in New Orleans and hung in the largest mass lynching in the United States. No, none of that ever occurred, so let's use that. And use that phrase for what's happening to Maxwell. And let's minimize real lynch mobs. Because a lynch mob, really? These members of so-called polite society better hope that the pitchforks and the torches never figure it out. Because if they do, well, you're going to see a mob, my friend. He added that he found it appalling that Maxwell was still in custody when other convicted sex offenders, specifically Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, were granted bail. Wah, they weren't. Look, she already got a free pass. The non-prosecution agreement was her free pass, all right? She got her one over. She got her I'm part of the privileged part of society pass, okay? Not the second time. She was burned as an asset by then, Brian Basham. Are you keeping up? Maybe read a book or two. Perhaps you should pick up Bradley Edwards' book. Might be a good place to start. Both Weinstein and Cosby were given bail, and they were men who were a danger to women. That can't be said of Ghislaine at all, he said. No, really, it can't be? Let's remember 38% of people involved in trafficking are women. What we have seen with Nexium, what we have seen with the Jeffrey Epstein criminal enterprise has cemented the fact that women play a huge role in this. So don't try and use her gender as a reason for her not to be in jail. She's vile, she's evil, and in my opinion, she is right where she belongs. Maxwell has denied all 6 counts relating to child sex trafficking and procurement and perjury. In deposition documents released Thursday, it was revealed Maxwell repeatedly lashed out against alleged survivor. Virginia Roberts' lawyers tried to object to questioning and at one point pounded her fist on the table. Yeah, because, that really shows everybody that how sincere you are about your innocence. Meanwhile, you have no evidence to back up anything that you say. Not a thing, not a word, never once. Nobody backs up her statements. There's nobody that comes out and says, oh yeah, Ghislaine, great woman, totally got her back, besides Brian Basham. After the fit, she remarked, "Can we be clear? I didn't threaten anybody." No, you didn't seem unhinged or anything when you're slamming your fist down on the counter or threatening Maria or threatening Virginia or threatening any of the other survivors. Nah, you were absolutely in touch with reality and not an unhinged bipedal serpent maniac. The combative Maxwell continually denied all wrongdoing. She refused to answer questions about her sex life with Epstein, denied she participated in orgies, and rebuffed questions about underage girls, including a 13-year-old, being in Epstein's home. Remember, it was all about what she didn't say in that deposition. She became agitated and refused to answer whether she believed it was psychologically harmful for an adult to have sex with a minor. Yeah, because, that's the reaction of normal people. Here's the answer, okay? Let me give you a little help, Ghislaine. The answer is, yes, it is harmful. Very harmful, okay? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What are you asking me? I don't know what you were asking, Maxwell responded. This has nothing to do with Virginia Roberts. What? Yes, it does. And furthermore, answer the question, Ghislaine. What sort of normal-thinking adult doesn't answer that right away? Snap of the fingers. Yes, an adult, a 50-year-old man having sex with a 14-year-old is harmful to the 14-year-old. Pretty obvious. That's harmful behavior. She denied taking nude photos of Epstein's survivors, yet insisted that every photo she took was by request and would have been mainstream Type magazine photos that could have been very happily and expected to be displayed on your parents' mantelpiece or grandparents' mantelpiece. Your parents' mantelpiece, for sure. Robert Maxwell, the other sick, disgusting father of the bipedal serpent. I wonder, were you hatched, Ghislaine? Or were you actually born? Because I don't think you're a mammal, so I think that you were probably hatched, and there wasn't a live birth there. That's the only way to explain it. And your father, well, we know that dude, that corrupt son of a bitch, that filthy rat bastard, well, we know the sort of damage he caused, and the liar he was, and we know that you grew up right at Daddy Old Dear's knee. President Bill Slick Willie Clinton and Britain's Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, were also brought up during the hours-long conversation, with Maxwell profusely denying Clinton had been to Epstein's pedophile island. Well, why would she rat him out? She didn't rat anybody out in that deposition. But what it does is it makes Slick Willie look even worse. We know he was on the island. Come on, folks. It makes him look even worse. Is there a bigger liar in this whole entire thing than Slick Willie? This dude has jucked, jived, and dodged all sorts of fallout from this. How long is he going to be able to keep up that act? How long is that going to keep up as more information comes out? She also skirted questions about Robert's claim that Prince Andrew used a spitting image puppet to grope her in Epstein's New York home. Roberts' claim she was instructed to have sex with the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family multiple times, claims that he denied. Maxwell is currently in jail awaiting trial on charges that she lured girls as young as 14 years old for pedophile Epstein to abuse between 1994 and 1997. We know that that's just the beginning. We know that this is going to go on like the Final Destination movie franchise. We're talking 9 parts. It's coming, folks. Federal prosecutors in New York claim Maxwell perjured herself in the deposition when she was asked if Epstein had a scheme to recruit underage girls for sexual massages. Yeah, and about 9 other times in the deposition. Maxwell flatly said, "I don't know what you were talking about." No, she had no idea. Nobody has no idea about anything. This whole entire thing happened and nobody was involved. Ghislaine Maxwell knew nothing. Just ask her good friend, Brian Basham. She lashed out when asked if she ever helped recruit underage girls for Epstein to abuse, saying, "First of all, you are trying to trap me. I will not be trapped." So, is this the behavior of somebody who is innocent? I know I'd be like, look, no, that never occurred. I never helped in that criminal enterprise, not once, and there's nobody that can prove I did. Let's see the receipts. That's what I would say if I was her and I was innocent. But she's not innocent. She can't say that. So it's all about, oh, don't try and trap me. It's a technicality. Don't use a loophole. But meanwhile, that's what she's using. Loopholes, technicalities, and avoidance of the truth. You were asking me if I recruit. I told you no. I totally resent and find it disgusting that you use the word recruit. I already told you I don't know what you are saying about that, and your implication is repulsive. You know what's repulsive, Ghislaine Maxwell? Your whole life. Everything about you is repulsive. The fact that your buddy Brian Basham is up here being your champion. The fact that you think you deserve special treatment. And you know what else is repulsive? The way you treated other human beings for so long, like they were below you, like people who were a different color than you, according to reports, were less than you. Like all of these girls from broken homes were just commodities to be traded, abused, and then discarded when no more use of them could be had. So don't tell us about repulsive. We know repulsive, and it's Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell denied that Epstein had any negative, unflattering, private, or potentially embarrassing information on her, and her lawyer objected to the question if the billionaire, pedophile, was aware of any illegal activity that she had conducted. Yeah, that's a lie. They were in a conspiracy together, so they both knew what was up. They were both aware of what was going on, and Ghislaine Maxwell most certainly knows where the bodies are buried. You think she does not? You are not paying attention. Maxwell claimed she had never done anything illegal, but admitted she had a DUI on her record stemming from an arrest in the UK. I don't care about that. Look, people make mistakes, okay? I don't obviously ever condone or suggest anyone get behind the wheel, but that's a mistake that is forgivable if nobody is hurt, right? That's a mistake where you look at your friend or your relative and you say, man, what the F were you doing? You got to be more responsible. You got to be a better person. Not for what Ghislaine Maxwell did, all right? That's not the conversation I have with somebody I know if they're in Ghislaine Maxwell's shoes. That conversation is more like a Tony Soprano losing a bet conversation with his bookie. Those are the kind of words that would be used, all right? The deposition was redacted in parts, with the names of Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, Victoria's Secret boss Little Les Wexner, Alan I Kept My Underpants On Dershowitz, and some mentions of Slick Willie all blocked out. However, they were still identifiable through details given and previous reporting. Boy, I bet it's fun for all of them, huh? I know Little Les Wexner isn't having a good day today, is he? Little Les Wexner, you're back on the radar, my friend. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about you, you little smarmy SOB, you. And then, of course, well, Mr. I Kept My Underpants On Dershowitz is never far from mind. Mr. Unhinged himself, the naked volleyball-playing voyeuristic Dershowitz. And then Mr. Slick Willie. I have avoided most of the fallout. My name is Slick Willie. I think you should vote for me. This guy, his day is definitely coming as well. But what we can take from this, folks, is that once again, a member of polite society, her cronies, other fellow travelers, really don't care about justice. They don't care about the survivors. They don't care about anything. And in fact, they are so brazen and so self-aggrandizing that they will stand up there in front of us like this new clown on the stage, Brian Basham, and chirp how Ghislaine Maxwell is being treated unfairly and how she should be free. My answer to that is, good luck. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, folks, all of the links that go with this episode are in the description box. For me, I'll be back later on, and we will pick the story back up then.